Chapter 243 representing the Tang Sect to fight. Wang Donga snapped. Don't try to change the topic. So how? Who are you? Al laughed bitterly. I told you that was a misunderstanding. Don't you trust my character? Wang Donga wanted to smile, but straightened her expression. I only believe what I see. Who are you? Al was helpless as he said. About that, what do you think I should do? I'll do whatever you want me to do. Wang Donga nodded and said, come in. As she spoke, she dragged him into her room before locking the door. There were some things that shouldn't be said outside. Her room was also pretty soundproof. As she looked at Who are you? Al, Wang Donga almost burst out laughing. This helpless-looking guy was really the guy that she liked. Who are you? Al? I'm here. Who are you? Al almost greeted her formally, and he acknowledged her words cautiously. Wang Donga thought her words over before saying, owing to your performance last night, I decided that you are my man from today onwards. I'll be responsible for you. Do you understand? What? Who are you? Al's tone varied greatly as he muttered this one word. He looked at Wang Donga in a daze and didn't understand. Wang Donga was furious. What? You've hugged, touched, and slept with me. Are you going to shirk your responsibility? You're my man from now on. You can't look, like, or even touch other ladies. Do you understand? Who are you? Al seemed to have understood her point. Wang Donga was pleased as she said, don't worry, I'll treat you very well. I'll feed you and give you water every day. You can also follow me. However, you need to listen to me. Do you understand? Who are you? Al was in a daze. Why do I feel like you're keeping a dog instead? Wang Donga chuckled. Yes, I am. You are the dog. Aren't you angry? The look in Who are you? Al's eyes turned clearer. Wang Donga straightened her expression once again. Who said I'm not? I'm very angry. Are you? Who are you? Al's expression changed. He was no longer as cautious as before. He wasn't a fool, either. Although love could make one foolish, he couldn't possibly be relegated to the level of a dog. Yes. What are you going to do? Don't mess around. Wang Donga was shocked to realize that a certain dog was walking towards her. This dog had also turned vicious. Nice. Wang Donga, how dare you trick me? See how I'm going to deal with you. Stop playing around. I'm going to shout. If you're not scared of embarrassment, then shout all you want. No one will come and save you even if you shout until you lose your voice. I have a legendary soul skill called Hungry Tiger pouncing on its prey. In the next moment, the bed became the battlefield. Who are you? Al was given a good kick by Wang Donga, and he flew back onto the wall before sliding down. As she was frightened, Wang Donga had kicked him forcefully. Who are you? Al almost lost consciousness. You Al, are you all right? Wang Donga was frightened and rushed to his side. She caressed his chest with an anxious look on her face. It wasn't intentional. Who asked you to be so naughty? I was naughty. Who are you? Al's eyes widened, and he looked at her as if she had reversed the truth. Who was the one scaring me? I was so afraid that my heart was beating extremely quickly. I can't make it. My stomach is aching from your kick. Who are you? Al leaned on Wang Donga and refused to get up. Wang Donga became even more anxious. What do we do? Do I carry you to the infirmary? No need. You have medicine with you. Give me some. Who are you? Al's voice sounded even weaker. What medicine? Wang Donga was stunned. Who are you? Al's voice suddenly turned weird. Magical medicine. After he finished speaking, he suddenly hugged Wang Donga and tried to kiss her. Wang Donga was a soul emperor, and her reactions were quick. When Who are you? Al moved, she reacted immediately, and subconsciously turned around. However, it didn't work. Her lips still met his. When their lips met, they both froze in place. Who are you? Al hadn't planned on kissing Wang Donga on the lips. It was accidental. Wang Donga's lips were soft and refreshing. When their lips met, Who are you? Al felt his soul shaking. He couldn't describe that feeling with words. Their pupils dilated at the same time, and they maintained this position for several seconds. Ooh. Wang Donga reacted first. She quickly moved back, and her face could be seen blushing red like an apple. Who are you? Al remained where he was, and even licked his lips. You. Wang Donga pursed her lips. It was hard to tell if she was furious or being coquettish. It wasn't deliberate. Who are you? Al muttered almost immediately. However, he wanted to slap himself after he spoke. Even if it wasn't accidental, he still took advantage of her. Indeed, Wang Donga raised her brows and said furiously, get out. Donga, listen to me. Wang Donga didn't give him a chance to defend himself, and dragged him to the door of her room. Who are you? Al didn't even struggle, and was thrown out in a matter of seconds. Bang. The door slammed shut. Wang Donga leaned on the door after she closed it and held her face with her hands. She stomped on the ground with her right foot. This idiot. He stole my first kiss just like that. So unromantic. Who are you? Al was locked out, and could only scratch his head helplessly. He probably couldn't enter her room anymore. However, he could tell that she wasn't really angry. He was prepared to whip up some delicacies before coming back to coax her. You are. At this moment, an anxious voice sounded. Who are you? Al turned around and saw Vice Dean Kaimai walking towards him. No wonder I couldn't find you. So you came here to find Donga. Quick, follow me. Kaimai approached him and dragged him away immediately. Who are you? Al was confused. Dean Kai, what's going on? What happened? Kaimai replied, you'll know after you follow me. After we returned yesterday, I reported our findings to Elder Sun. He was very concerned about your suggestion for Soul Masters to learn how to use Soul Tools, and asked you to report to him. Elder Song, Shaosh and Shenliner are all there. We'll discuss it first before bringing the matter up in the conference in the Sea Gods Pavilion. Go and prepare. All right. Who are you? Al's eyes brightened. This was an important matter that he was pushing for. If he succeeded, it would be very beneficial for Shrek Academy's future development. The two of them came to the first level of the Sea Gods Pavilion. Indeed, Elder Song was seated at the conference room table with his wine gourd beside him. However, it was evident that he hadn't drunk anything today. While he was old, he was still full of energy. Elder Song, Shenliner, Yan Shaosh, Who are you? Al and Kaimai sat in the other seats. They constituted slightly less than half of a proper conference of the Sea Gods Pavilion. Everyone smiled kindly when they saw Who are you? Al. Elder Song asked, You Al, did you get enough rest? Who are you? Al's face was blushing slightly. Of course he had slept well. He had hugged Wang Donga to sleep. It was rather good. Thank you for your concern, Elder Song. As he spoke, he took his seat along with Kaimai. Kaimai sat one seat from Yan Shaosh, whereas Who are you? Al sat one seat from her. Elder Song said, Maya has already told me about what happened. It seems like there's really going to be a huge change in the world of Soul Masters on the continent. First it was the Holy Ghost Church, then the Dragon Emperor Long Xiao appeared. Now it's the three evil Soul Masters' turn. I'm afraid we're going to face more trouble in the future, but let's forget about that for now. We'll talk about it in the next conference. These evil Soul Masters can't be resisted by ordinary Shrek Guardians anymore. We'll have to deal with the matter prudently. You Al, tell me about your suggestion. Yes. Who are you? Al acknowledged his words. In fact, this suggestion wasn't initially made by me, but Teacher Wang Yan. The future development of the world of Soul Masters is bound to involve strong Soul Masters developing Soul Tools to their fullest. I'm an experimental product of Teacher Wang. After years of learning about Soul Tools and increasing my cultivation, I discovered that the abilities of Soul Masters and Soul Tools are not mutually exclusive. The Sun Moon Empire is able to attract so many people to become Soul Engineers mainly because Soul Engineers aren't restricted by martial souls. As long as they have soul power, they can use Soul Tools and become Soul Engineers. It's precisely this idea that has made our idea seem deviant. 2. In my opinion, Soul Masters without strong martial souls can be considered Soul Engineers if they use Soul Tools. However, they are just basic Soul Engineers. They aren't strong. They won't be able to unleash the full power of their Soul Tools. In fact, it's not only us that took a roundabout way. Even the Sun Moon Empire did the same thing. They are too focused on Soul Tools and have neglected the influence of a Soul Master on Soul Tools. Our Ultimate Soldier plan has indeed made some breakthroughs, but we are unable to distinguish them clearly yet. What's Shrek's greatest advantage? It's that we have the best Soul Master educational system and the best Soul Masters. Like I mentioned earlier, Soul Masters and Soul Engineers are not mutually exclusive. Let me give a simple example. Imagine we have a Class 4 Soul Cannon with a firing range of 300 meters in the hands of both an ordinary Soul Master and a member of our academy. The effect of this Soul Tool will be different for both sides. An ordinary Soul Master will try to increase his soul power and soul skills in order to continue using this Soul Cannon. Their abilities will become more and more negligible as a result, and they'll need to rely on the Soul Cannon to attack. However, how can their judgment, senses, agility, and strength compare to our Soul Masters? If I were an agility type Soul Master carrying the same Soul Cannon, I could kill my opponent, who wouldn't be able to put up any resistance. He won't even even be able to lock onto me. If I were a control-type soul master, I could control the situation and close the distance while finding the most appropriate opportunity to attack. If I were an assault-type soul master, I could use the firepower of the soul cannon to suppress my opponent, and use my physically strong body to fight. If my opponent is at the same level of cultivation, how could he possibly beat me? That's why ordinary soul masters will be much inferior to our soul masters if both sides use the same soul tools and are at the same level of cultivation. There's an even wider gap in terms of the potential to grow even stronger. As he concluded, Who are you? Stood up and said, Everyone, please take a look. As he spoke, he stood up and retreated a few steps. He lifted his right hand and revealed his starlight sapphire ring. A streak of blue light flashed, and an entirely grey, 3.5-meter tall metallic man was presented in front of everyone. Although this metallic man looked a little simple, Dean Shenliner couldn't help but jump up from her seat when it appeared. She lost her voice as she said, Human-shaped soul tool. Who are you? Nodded and pointed at it with his right hand. The center of the soul tool cracked open, revealing an empty space. Shenliner was already very eager. She raced up in front of the metallic man and was appalled as she looked it over. Yuao, this is from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. Who are you? Shook his head and replied, No, I invented this myself. It contains some of Tang Sect's secret techniques. If I commanded such a soul tool, I could attack up to 1 kilometer away, and its speed can be increased to the maximum using my 12 class 6 soul thrusters. It can fly at a high altitude for some time, too. I even installed enough milk bottles to provide it with independent soul power. Even if I deplete my own soul power, the milk bottles can sustain the fighting strength of a soul emperor for some time. However, all this isn't the most important thing. Who are you? Stepped forward in front of the human-shaped soul tool. He stepped inside of it, and it closed up. Under his control, the metallic man took a step forward. The most important thing is that it has the potential to be enhanced further. This is the future development path of soul tools. A suitable soul master using a suitable soul tool that can exhibit all types of fighting skills will become the future trend. Human-shaped soul tools won't be left out. However, some problems will arise as human-shaped soul tools develop. Soul tools aren't everything on their own. The more unique they are, the greater their requirements on the person controlling them. Simply put, if a medicinally boosted 5-ring soul king controlled this metallic man, he would directly lose his fighting ability and even his life from the instantaneous thrusting force when it flies at high altitudes. However, this won't happen to me. I can even use my spiritual power to lock onto my target and tap into my various soul skills to aid it, complementing it to unleash greater fighting strength. Even if it is damaged, I can still fight on the battlefield, since I'm a strong soul master in my own right. As he finished, Who are you? Exited the metallic man from the clanging metal doors. He returned to the table and said respectfully, Elders, my final conclusion is that soul tools are only weapons that can be used by soul masters. They are external items. Their presence won't affect a soul master's status. On the contrary, they might even make us stronger. Think about it. If our soul masters were equipped with the illustrious Virtue Hall soul tools, we'd be invincible. However, can they do the same thing? No. That's because they lack the most basic thing. Soul tools can be created and enhanced through research. But what about strong soul masters? Who has a foundation like Shrek Academy? As he reached this last sentence, his voice was determined and resolute. Everyone was moved by his words. Even Yan Xiaoshu's eyes changed continuously. The strength of Hua Yuao's speech was that he evaluated soul tools from the perspective of soul masters, and at the same time addressed their greatest worry. Yan Xiaoshu asked, Yuao, I have a question. According to what you say, I'd like to know how long it'll take for a soul master to learn how to use these various soul tools. Hua Yuao answered without hesitation. If you're talking about controlling different categories of soul tools, it'll take 2 to 3 years. After hearing his reply, Yan Xiaoshu heaved a sigh of relief. He thought that wasn't a very long time. However, his eyes brightened when Hua Yua continued. However, I think that's too long. In my opinion, I think it's easy for soul masters to use soul tools. However, being eclectic isn't a good choice. That's because different soul masters are bound to have different soul tools that suit them. It's like how soul engineers have to choose their future path when they develop soul tools. When soul masters use soul tools, they should also make their own choices. For example, assault-type soul masters are most suited to use this human-shaped soul tool in front of me. That's because their bodies are very strong and more tolerant. Their fighting strength will greatly increase when using such a soul tool. This is especially so for 5-ring soul kings and 6-ring soul emperors, as they'll directly gain the ability to fly over long distances. The effect of this on the battlefield will be immense. For auxiliary-type soul masters, they'll need other soul tools. First, soul tools that suit them need to be sufficiently offensive. Then they'll also need soul tools that they can use to defend themselves. The size of the soul tools will be bigger than this metallic man in front of us, and will be able to guarantee their survival on the battlefield. For agility-type soul masters, soul thrusters would suit them. Their speed would be greatly increased. Along with close combat soul tools, they'll become very strong. From this, we can conclude that the best thing would be for every soul master to have a custom-made soul tool, and only use that category of soul tool. It'll then take only a month or 2 to become familiar with and control one specific category of soul tools. For deeper familiarization, it'll depend on one's intelligence and learning speed. All the elders couldn't help but nod as they listened to Hua Yua's explanation. Elder Sun revealed a comforted look, reassured by these words. Everyone, what do you think about Yua's proposal? Elder Sun asked. Elder Sun sighed slightly and commented, In the future, our world will belong to young people like them. The difference in our thinking actually led to such a huge discrepancy in our ideas. However, I must admit that I'm convinced. Elder Sun looked at Yan Xiaosh before saying, Xiaosh, what about you? Yan Xiaosh said, Elder Sun, Elder Song, everyone else. After hearing Yua's words, I have a lot of feelings. I'm most shocked not by this metallic man, but his analysis of Shrek's advantage. All this while, my biggest mistake was to look at others' advantages, and I forgot about our own advantages. Yuao has also convinced me. I reckon that we can try his method out. We can add 2 more lessons for the martial soul department's outer courtyard students. Introduction to soul tools, and use of soul tools. The younger students can start interacting with soul tools during their learning process. The inner courtyard disciples can be equipped with custom-made soul tools, like Yua suggested. In this way, our Shrek guardians will undoubtedly become stronger. Liner, I'll need you to be in charge of educating the martial soul department's inner courtyard students on using soul tools. Of course, Shen Liner looked at Yan Xiaosh with a slightly weird expression, but that was no surprise. In her heart, Yan Xiaosh was a stubborn old man. Who would have expected him to accept Hua Yuao's suggestion? Although Hua Yuao had only mentioned the advantages to the martial soul department, his proposal would also make the soul tool department more important in Shrek Academy. Shen Liner said, It's not that simple either. 1 or 2 months is a very short time. After everyone discovers a suitable category of soul tool, they will need time to study and understand it. They will also need to learn how to use soul tools without affecting their own abilities. This is very important. Elder Sun said, Yuao and Xiaosh are already responsible for the research of spirits. Liner, you shall be in charge of this matter. You can test it out in the inner courtyard first. The extra 2 lessons that Xiaosh mentioned can be directly implemented in the outer courtyard. Shen Liner answered unhappily, Elder Sun, this is a little unfair. Oh. Elder Sun was a little puzzled as he looked at her and asked, What's so unfair? Shen Liner replied, Yuao is also one of us. I can tell you for sure that no one in the soul tool department can make this human-shaped soul tool like him. I can't, either. This proposition was also made by him. We can leave the matter about spirits and let him help me first. We can't do that. Yan Xiaosh replied without hesitation. Liner, you should know how important spirits are to the future world of soul masters. There are different degrees of importance. We need you to helm things over at the soul tool department. Shen Liner snorted and replied, Didn't you hear Hua Yuao? What's the future development trend? Spirits are a new discovery, but we don't know if they can really replace soul rings in the future. We still need to carry out more experiments. Allowing our inner courtyard students to use soul tools and increasing their fighting strength is more important. You can't put it this way. Spirits are the future. Yan Xiaosh's expression turned gloomy. Elder Sun furrowed his brow and said, All right, the 2 of you squabble every time you meet. We shall leave it like that temporarily. Liner, you can find Yuao if you need help in the area of soul tools. Furthermore, isn't Hiketu here too? According to Fanu, Hiketu's research ability in terms of soul tools is not inferior to Yuao. Shen Liner and Yan Xiaosh finally quieted down after Elder Sun persuaded them both. Hua Yuao's expression turned gloomy. He had found more problems for himself. There was another matter that he had to monitor now. There were too many things he had to settle right now. Elder Sun, what do we do about the 2 dark gold and terrafloor bear cubs I brought back? Hua Yuao asked. Elder Sun replied, They're your private property and have nothing to do with the academy. You can decide yourself. What? Who are you? Al was shocked as he looked at Elderson. What was going on? Did Elderson's words mean that the academy didn't want the two cubs? They were dark golden terraclaw bears. Elderson was amused and said, "What? Is there a problem? They really are your private property. Take good care of them. As one of the top soul beasts, they can grow very quickly in the future with sufficient nutrition. They might be very helpful to you in the future. Also, I heard from Maya that you obtained 3 soul bones. Those 3 soul bones were obtained by you and Wang Qia, so they naturally belong to the two of you. You can decide how you want to divide them. However, tell me how you feel about Wang Qia." Undoubtedly, Elderson was slightly biased towards him. Theoretically speaking, he couldn't have achieved such gains without the entire team following him deep into the forest. But at this point, Elderson deviated from the topic. Who are you? Didn't reject his offer either. After pondering for a while, he said, "Wang Qia is indeed very strong. Her golden dragon is one of the strongest martial souls I've ever seen. I already think that I'm very strong and have an advantage in terms of my twin martial souls. However, I don't have any confidence of beating her in a duel. In terms of personality, she's a lady who's cold on the outside, but warm on the inside, even though she's unwilling to get close to anyone. Without her help, I would have been gravely injured even if I survived. She has unlimited potential." Elderson squinted and said, "This means you think she's credible even though she's just entered the inner courtyard?" Who are you? Nodded without any hesitation. Elderson nodded slightly and appeared pensive. "All right, we'll end things here today. All of you can return. Liner, return and prepare for what was proposed today. Tomorrow, we'll confirm things during the Sea Gods Pavilion conference. You, Al, call the rest of Shrek's 7 monsters. I have something to tell all of you." "Yes." Who are you? Acknowledged his words respectfully. Shrek's 7 monsters were usually in the inner courtyard. Even though their cultivations weren't low, the inner courtyard was responsible for nurturing elite students like them. There were things to learn at every level. That's why they only gathered at the Tang Sect on the weekends. Who are you? Found them very easily. When he finally approached Wang Donga's door anxiously, her door directly opened on its own. Wang Donga, who was decked in the inner courtyard's red uniform, looked fiery. She was stunned when she saw Who are you in front of her door, and almost punched him. "Surely you haven't been standing here all this while?" Who are you? Said honestly, "Yes. I've been standing here as a punishment so that I can earn your forgiveness." Wang Donga snapped. "Nonsense. I heard Dean Kai dragging you away. Your lies are not good enough." Who are you? Chortled and said, "Let's go. Elderson is looking for us. He seems to have something important to tell us." "All right." Wang Donga acknowledged his words before she closed the door to her room. After that, she followed Who are you to the first level of the Sea Gods Pavilion. As they walked, Who are you said softly, "Donga, what? Are you still angry?" "Yes." "How angry?" "Very angry." "What can I do to appease you?" "Humph. Can 2 wrongs make a right?" Wang Donga stared furiously at him as she stopped. However, she was greeted with Who are you burning gaze. He was even looking at her lips. "You." Wang Donga placed her hands on her hips and was about to erupt. Who are you hurriedly twisted his head and said, "Let's go. Elderson is waiting for us." After he finished speaking, he quickened his footsteps as they proceeded downstairs. Wang Donga mimicked a whacking action as she looked at him before following after him. She even pinched his waist a few times. Bei Bei, Hikeitu, Shu Sanchi, Jiang Nanan, Xia Xiao, Hu Yuao, and Wang Donga had all arrived. However, they were not qualified to sit at the table. They lined up in a row and stood in front of Elderson. As a member of the Sea Gods Pavilion, Hu Yuao could sit. However, how could he sit when the rest of them were standing? Elderson complimented them in his heart as he looked at these vibrant youths. They had grown much faster than he had expected. Undoubtedly, they were going to be the future pillars of Shrek Academy. This future was coming quickly, too. "All right, all of you are present. I called all of you here because I have something important to discuss with all of you." Elderson lifted his wine gourd and took a sip. As long as it wasn't some formal gathering, he would drink. Fortunately, he didn't act like a beggar now. Bei Bei said respectfully, "Elderson, please enlighten us." Elderson replied, "It's less than 3 months to the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament. I believe all of you should be quite ready." Bei Bei answered, "Yes, we were going to report to you too. After Yuao and Keiichi returned, we practiced many times together. When are you free? You can check out our progress." Elderson observed the 7 of them. When Bei Bei said this, all 7 of them revealed their self-confidence. Their confidence naturally originated from their abilities. "I don't need to check on the 7 of you yet. I called all of you here today because I wanted to brief all of you regarding the tournament. Not long ago, we received news that's not good for the academy. However, it's an opportunity for all of you. The new edition of the tournament will be held in the Sun Moon Empire. Undoubtedly, all of you will be under great pressure, since you will be competing on the home ground of our main competitor. The Sun Moon Empire discussed some changes to the tournament system with the 3 empires earlier. They sought the opinion of the various academies and sects regarding their proposed changes. Change to the system. Bei Bei's gaze turned cold. As competing members of the top academy on the continent, changes in the system were likely to neutralize some of Shrek Academy's advantages. No wonder Elderson said that this wasn't a good thing for the academy. Elderson, yes, changing the tournament system. First, they want to change the qualification requirements. The age restriction doesn't change. The upper limit will still be 20 years old. However, they've expanded it to include all sects. This means that the tournament will now be renamed to the Continental Soul Master Youth Tournament. The number of teams will greatly increase. If this change is approved, there will be twice the number of competing teams, attracting sects to participate. What was the purpose of doing so? All 7 of them were stunned, but they couldn't tell what the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's goal was. "Who are you?" asked. Elderson, "Is it likely for it to be approved?" Elderson said without any hesitation, "Very likely." When this change was suggested, it received the support of many sects, especially the stronger sects. The tournament is a good way to showcase themselves to the masses. To these sects, it's a good way to advertise themselves, so they were quite willing. For example, the body sect is confident in becoming champions. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.